Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt, and Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Everything has gone well for the holidays. I had meant to get one more podcast in before the new year turned, and life hit. We had illness right before Christmas, kind of go through the family. I was down on energy and um, really the ability or the motivation to do anything at that point. And then, the holidays, travel, Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. But I hope that yours was good. The Tar Heels start the year off right with a win tonight at Pitt on the roads. That's good. We had lost the last three to Pitt, so um, that's a big win, a good win. We go to 2-0 in the ACC as well, and kind of keep rolling. I think what did they say? We're 10-3, I believe. I think we were 9-3 before this game. So, yeah, good win. We got Mike in here. Good to see you as well, Mike. We got Garrett in here. Go Heels. Level of excitement, Mike asks, kind of before we jump into everything. Um, I, I guess we'll get into it, but that was a really ugly game. But I am pretty excited that we're winning, or that we won, I should say. And I mean, we just look like a different team than last year, where we can pull off these ugly wins, and we can pull off when RJ isn't hitting all the shots that he's been hitting the last few games, and we just have kind of multiple ways to win. We can win ugly. We can win scoring 100 on Tennessee. We can kind of blow out almost Oklahoma, but we'll get into all that stuff. Yeah, Garrett says great road win. Um, Ted is in here. How you doing, Ted? I'm sick of losing to them. I wanted that as bad as any game this year. I wasn't like that, but like Nintendo Nerd says, very happy for the win. Go Heels. Garrett says gritty win. Yeah. So if you're watching live, obviously welcome in. Going to be a good show, I think, tonight or podcast. If you're listening to this later, glad that you're listening. Glad that you're supporting the podcast, and I just hope that you'll subscribe wherever you are listening to this, and we continue to grow the podcast as well as unite Tar Heel Nation. It's been a great 23 for the podcast. My goal for 2023 was to get 500 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 550, and I believe we were before the new year came. So that's big. And yeah, just anybody that will share and subscribe and listen to the podcast, and also interact. Obviously, here live, you can comment, and all you have to do is go to youtube.com/UNC Hoops Talk, subscribe, and then hit the bell because, like I say every time, don't have a very good schedule about going live, so it could be kind of random. I did post up on the YouTube channel that I was possibly going to do it tonight. Um, but yeah, do that, or otherwise just subscribe in your podcast um, host or app that you use, and it'll come in there hopefully automatically. And then just interact. And you go to all Tar Heel Dan on Twitter or Instagram, and love to hear your feedback and your interactions as you're listening on one of those places. But let's jump in here. We'll get to the Pitt game. Quickly, gonna kind of catch up with the games that I didn't get to podcast about before. Um, and I always say quickly, and then sometimes I don't, but I'm really gonna try. So Kentucky, we had an 83-87 loss. I did open the score, the box score, but I don't think I'm even gonna look at it. We know that RJ Davis led us offensively in all those games leading up to this one. Um, Kentucky won. Obviously we lost, but I was it was I don't want to say a good loss, but I wasn't down about it. I felt pretty good about it. We played well. They knocked down some tough shots. Um, it was is a home crowd for them in Atlanta, and yeah, like I said, I don't think we played horrible. I don't think we played our best, and kind of is what it is. It was kind of one of their first games back with their big guys, so that kind of gave them some energy. Baycat struggled with the size again, that kind of stuff. But we were right there, 83-87, and then we followed that up with a win uh, against Oklahoma in Charlotte, so a home crowd for us, and it never kind of felt in doubt. We jumped out on them, and again, RJ led us. I'm not going to open up the box score. 81-69 win against Oklahoma. They were top 10 when we beat them, so that should mean something. And they're still, I think they're still in the top 10. I think they're still winning. And I just saw too, like Tennessee is top 5 or number 5. So they're still winning after we beat them. So those are good things, obviously, for our quads and for our wins and quality of schedule and all that stuff. So, and then we had the Charleston Southern after kind of the Christmas break. So Oklahoma was December 20. Guys, I'm sure from there kind of flew home, did a little Christmas thing. I'm not sure when they came back, but then December 29th, we had Charleston Southern, blew them out, never close. Fun to watch. That one really got my kind of excitement up as you guys were asking earlier, how's the excitement? That one really got me excited. And then I kind of thought about, I was like, we really can't take anything from being Charleston Southern, even if it's 105 to 60. About the only thing we can take is getting guys minutes, getting guys confidence. And then we followed that up with as well as we shot and as much as we scored and people got minutes and all that. We followed that up with this Pittsburgh game where we start. Somebody said it in the chat. We started 0 for 10. We didn't score for like 6.5 minutes to start the game. We never really shot the ball well. Luckily for us, Pittsburgh didn't either. And like I said, kind of ugly basketball, but we got the win. That was kind of the important thing is went into Pittsburgh, got the win. They've given us some trouble the last year, season and a half, something like that. And so, yeah, good win for us. Big time win, I think. Just again, coming back off of that easy Charleston Southern win. We go on the road. I couldn't believe, the announcer said this is the latest kind of ever North Carolina has had their first true road game. But yeah, we've played all these neutral site, big time games. Now we haven't played on the road. And so maybe that played into a little bit at the beginning. But it's not like we ever really got it going. The only good thing is that Pittsburgh shot worse than us. So I did look at that a little bit. We shot 5 for 17 from three, which is 29%. They shot 5 for 29 from three, for 17%. So they really never got it going, and they kept shooting them. And luckily, we went into Baycott a little bit, got him going a little. He ended up with 16 and 10. He crossed the 2,000 point mark as a Tar Heel. So congrats to Baycott for that. Only took him 5 years, right? I'm just kidding. RJ was a little bit off, but as much as the announcers were talking about RJ just kind of having an off game and not getting the offense going, he still had 15 points, 3 for 6 from three. So it's not like he was just chucking those up. He was 6 for 16 from the field, so not quite as efficient there, but had 4 assists as well. Baycott had 3 blocks. And then we also had Cormac got up to 10 points, still 0 for 2 from three though, but he added in 7 rebounds. And then Seth Tremble had 9 in the first half. He was our leading scorer at halftime, which is kind of crazy to say that Seth Tremble led us in scoring in any half, but he ended up with 10 points, 6 rebounds, um, knocked down a nice 3 at the end of a shot clock. Um, and then Harrison Ingram really struggled offensively. He was 2 for 14 shooting, 1 for 5 from three, but that one was a pretty big three. But he did add in 15 rebounds. So it's not like he didn't do, we've talked about this with like Cormac is like, if you're not scoring, not knocking on shots, you got to do something else. And he definitely did that with 15 rebounds, 3 assists, a couple of blocks as well. He still had 7 points. So it's not like it was just horrendous. Well, it kind of was horrendous shooting, 2 for 14, but definitely important to still have him on the floor there for us. And then Jalen Withers added in 6 points, 3 rebounds, nice vicious dunk. Jalen Washington didn't play quite as well. Just 7 minutes is also, I think, just kind of the physicality down low, but gave us a couple points, couple rebounds, and that kind of rounds it up for us. And yeah, like I said, big win to get a road ACC win and go 2-0 in the ACC, beat Pittsburgh, who we've had trouble with, all those kind of things. Starting the new year off, again, so much positive, even though the basketball really was pretty ugly. Um, yeah, Tyler said it as well. Good Go Heels wasn't pretty, but good road win. Kind of going back through the other comments here. Nintendo Nerd says, we out rebounded the team who leads ACC in scoring. That has to count for something. Okay, so rebounding was something like I felt like they had a lot of offensive rebounds, and we did not rebound the ball well. So when you say we out rebounded them 51-41. That's kind of crazy. Looking for offensive rebounds. There we go. So we had 16 offensive rebounds. They had 14. We still out rebounded that. I mean, that's crazy. Watching the game, if you would have just kind of told me that, I would have said no way because they got seemed like a ton of offensive rebounds. But thank you for pointing that out to the Nintendo because um, it was something. It seemed like it was just off for us. Like we were not rebounding the ball well. So Ted says, excuse me, we get a lot of credit for their bad shooting. We play pretty tenacious D despite our reputation. So, I mean, we've talked about defense on here. I don't like the switching. I've kind of made that known. I know it seemed like they just kind of played into it. Other teams have found some, and maybe again, maybe it's the break. We got some extra practice in there. Maybe we were, we'll have to see how the next couple of games go as well. But maybe we tightened up a little bit and did a little bit better on that. I did notice it seemed like we were kind of switching more 1 through 4 instead of 1 through 5. Tried to recover to his guy most of the time anyway. So that could be a little bit of it. But it just felt like other teams were able to exploit that a little bit better and get some open looks. Whereas, although Pittsburgh had some open looks that they just didn't go down, but I didn't feel like they were able to exploit it as well as other teams. So Garrett said, I love the rebounding and defense that won us the game. We were physical. Uh, yeah, I mean, it was a very physical game. I think that's why Jalen Washington didn't get as many minutes. Nintendo says as well, I love our defense, allowed too many open threes early, but cleaned that up later. And Garrett says, if this team defends, they will be super hard to beat. I agree. And he said, and rebounds as well. I do agree. That's kind of we always talk about who's the X factor as far as players and stuff, but rebounding and defense may be the X factors. I guess they kind of go together. If we play good defense and then finish it off with a rebound, um, that may be our X factor. We go as far as we can kind of get defend people. So I don't think we're not just an offensive juggernaut. RJ can go off. We can get Baycott going. Ingram can definitely be a solid piece in there, things like that. But yeah, I don't think we're just a juggernaut offensively where we can say doesn't matter if we're a good defensive team or not. We'll just outscore you. Definitely not at that point. Kind of like the '09 team, '05 even. Felt like they could kind of do that to a point, but it was the defense that brought them over the edge. So Mike says, and again, I guess I didn't watch this part of it necessarily as closely in the Charleston Southern game because there was such a blowout, but they haven't switched as much since Oklahoma. I believe we still switched kind of everything tonight, except for like I said, I don't think we switched the 5-man pick and rolls or the ball screens, whatever you want to say. So that'll be something I guess we have to watch going forward. Garrett says if you hold teams to 57 points, you win tons of games. Yes, I think they missed some shots that they even won't normally miss tonight. Um, Again, I think it was just kind of ugly basketball. Starting off the way we did, it got a little bit better, but it never really felt like, just really pretty, really fun, really smooth flowing basketball. Um, so Garrett said he noticed the same as Mike that we haven't switched as much. Again, we'll have to watch that going forward here, and I guess we can transition to that. I don't know if I ever said the score, but we did win 70-57. Um, we had a nice solid once we kind of got it up to double figures. I think they maybe got it under a little bit, maybe 9, 8, something like that, and then we quickly got it back up to 11 or 12 or something, and we just kind of always had that cushion once we got it. So again, I think that's the difference between this team and like last year's team is we can play ugly and still get those wins. We got that kind of grit, and I think Harrison Ingram is a big part of that. Just his energy. It sounds like from what other people say is Cormac's got that, even though he can't necessarily lead. He's not knocking the ball down. He's not as physical of a person as Harrison to help on the boards, although he had 7 tonight. He doesn't, just have that kind of demeanor, but does sound like he gets in guys' ears and he's kind of that same type of way. And I think we talked about that last year is something we were kind of missing is kind of that dog in somebody to get after somebody. Um, people thought they had to be too nice to each other or whatever last year. They couldn't get on certain people or whatever. Whereas this year it doesn't seem like people care. It's Cormac getting after somebody, or Harrison really getting people fired up, or getting into somebody's face or whatever it may be. So I do think that has a lot to do with kind of the style we can play and stuff like that. Um, Garrett says, just saying, defensive wins games for sure. Garrett, Duke is in a close game with Cuse right now. I was watching the first half of that, so you can keep me updated if we go long enough. But hopefully, it won't go too long, and I can catch the end of that one, and hopefully, Cuse can beat him. But Nintendo says having a confident Seth Trimble has been a game changer for us. Love him as the sixth man. Yeah, again, it was Charleston Southern, so I didn't take a bunch from it. But he even played some point guard at the end of that game. He was handling the ball a little bit more this game. It seemed like taking it up the floor and stuff, and then just the way he attacks. He's not just hoisting up threes, but he is making them when he's shooting them. I don't know what his percentage is, but I think he's 1 for 1, 1 for 2. A lot of games that he does shoot them. So I agree. That's a big difference for us. And Garrett says as well, let's talk about Trimble for a minute. Wow, what a turnaround. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about it, but and again, the offense that he's bringing this year has not taken away from the defense that he has added. He's getting after guys, and again, that can set a tone for people defensively, and just kind of get the other team out of their offense and out of their flow and stuff. So Mike says Seth is playing with so much confidence right now. Big improvement. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, just a fun team to watch this year, especially compared to what we went through really the last 2 years, minus obviously the run in March a couple years ago. So transitioning going forward, we're all ACC play from here on out. Obviously, been a lot of talk about it's not our first 3 games that are on the road because we played Florida State in December, but here in January we're starting with 3 road games. Again, we got the first one. Um, can't really say it's the toughest one, but although again, the way Pitt has given us trouble, it's kind of be in the talks for that. But we next go to Clemson here on Saturday. That's a noon Eastern tip on ESPN2. Um, I'm just thinking now as I read that out, probably be kind of out with the family on Saturday, so I'll probably be watching that one later on DVR, which kind of stinks. So don't be tweeting at me and stuff like that during the game. I'm gonna have to mute a couple of group chats and stuff so that I can watch that game without knowing what happens. And then we follow that one up. We go Saturday to Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, we go to State into Raleigh, and we play the Wolf Pack. It's an 8 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN. So another big game, and I think I have a meeting to be at like kind of right at tip time, so I'm going to miss the first half and watch that one kind of late on tape delay as well. But then we finally come home against Syracuse. We should, I don't know exactly when next week we're going to podcast, but hopefully, or we will get in there kind of somewhere in that room. I would assume before Syracuse, but if not, maybe right after the Syracuse game, which is followed up by Louisville in Chapel Hill. So, and Syracuse obviously giving Duke a run tonight. Um, not picked highly in the ACC, but they've been a decent team as well. Obviously, Clemson has been playing really well this season. I don't know their record. I know they're ranked. I think they were high teens, 18 or so in the last poll. I don't know if I even saw the poll that came out yesterday. I knew we were kind of still top 10, but I didn't even know that we were 8. NC State, I haven't seen much of them. I don't think I've seen any of them. I've seen a couple of their scores. I think they won a good game, and then they lost one that probably they shouldn't have. Um, but obviously, it's State. It's at their place the first time around here. So obviously nothing that we can take lightly. But again, I get kind of excited for those games now because to see Harrison in that rivalry game, and hopefully, it brings it up. I think the thing that's struggled, or we've struggled a little bit with, is with Harrison kind of having that mindset. It's taken away a little from Baycott. I feel like Baycott had that some in the past. Um, and now that Harrison has kind of stepped into that role, maybe Baycott's stepped back a little bit. We need both of them to kind of try to be the alpha males and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see as we get into, as we look at that schedule there. I think, obviously we got the Pitt game already, but you think even if you went 2-1 those first three road games here to start the new year, probably take that. Again, with Pittsburgh being who we struggled with in the past, Clemson being really good this year or playing good so far this year. I don't know if they've played anybody. They haven't played our schedule. We'll put it that way. But they have a good record as well. And then NC State being kind of a rivalry game, if we'll call it that. Uh, to go 2-1 though, we'd take that at this point. Obviously we'll go for 3-0. We'll take them all. But um, yeah, I don't know. So guys are talking about the schedule here. Garrett says, we get Clemson Saturday. Nintendo says Saturday will be a good game. Clemson seems to be legit so far this year. Garrett says, at least it's a noon game. Hopefully their fans won't be hammered. I thought that was State, not Clemson. I don't know. And then Garrett says, it seems like your schedule's like mine, very busy. Yeah, kids are starting to get in activities. We're running around after them. And I know it's only going to get worse as they get older. So, tonight we had a basketball practice, and I watched, like, wasn't quite the first half, but on my phone, because it's like I just got to get used to doing this. I usually try to not watch any of it and then watch it on tape delay, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I wanted a podcast tonight, and it's like I just need to kind of watch on my phone and get used to that, even though I don't like that, because usually I like to be, on I guess it's X, not Twitter, but on there or in a group chat talking with people about the game. Can't do that as I'm watching the game on my phone. But anyway, those are my problems. Nintendo says was supposed to work during the game Saturday, but managed to get off just to watch the game. I used to be able to manage my schedule around the games a little bit better. I feel like I've lost that ability here last year or two, which kind of stinks, but obviously just different season, and eventually I'll get back to that, hopefully. Um, Saturday, Mike says, is a battle for first place. And that's interesting, and I'll throw this out to the people in the live chat as well. And again, if you're listening to this later, definitely shoot me up on Twitter, Instagram with what you think. But what is your if you got one New Year's resolution for the Tar Heels? What would you want, or what would you want to kind of resolve or change? You guys know what resolutions are, but if you had one New Year's resolution for the Tar Heels, what would it be? So I'll keep going through these comments. You guys can be throwing those up in there. Nintendo says, I got lucky, thought I had to watch after work. Garrett says he's off Saturday. Ted says, I don't think Baycott ever was alpha and is what we've been missing. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's to the point of what Harrison is. I just feel like for our team, he was kind of that. And maybe that's what was holding us back a little bit. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he's to the same point as Harrison. I think that's why Harrison has done a better job at that. But I'd like Armando to stay where he was and not take a step back, just because Harrison's kind of in that role now. If that makes sense. I don't know. Um, all right, so I'm caught up with comments here. We'll talk a little bit here and see if anybody puts in a New Year's resolution. I hadn't really thought about it, so I don't necessarily have one either. I mean, I think one thing that would be good to resolve is Cormac Ryan's shooting. And he wasn't good again tonight. I don't know that he even hit a three, did he? No, 0 for 2 from three. So that's something there. Elliot Cadeau's foul trouble could be something that we'd want to. I think for me, as I kind of just think about it, it's. I mean, I was gonna say get Baycat going a little bit. He had 16 and 10 tonight is pretty good. But not even just him, but get the balance. Not have RJ have such a heavy load every night. And tonight again he wasn't, and we still pulled off the win, and that's really impressive to me. That we didn't need RJ to have 25, whatever. So I like the balance scoring. Now, obviously, I'd like to score more than 70, and I'd like to shoot better than what do we shoot 36% from the field, all that stuff. But I don't want RJ to have to do that. I want, yeah, RJ to be 18 to 20, Baycott to be 16 to 18, Harrison to be, 14. Again, Cormac to be around 10, Elliott to chip in, 6 points a game off the bench. If Tremble or maybe it's Jalen, depending what games, but one of them to hit double figures. Jalen Withers to get, like he did six tonight. I think that didn't seem out of reach for him. That, and then just have a balanced thing. I think maybe that would be my biggest resolution if we could. All right, so we got some in here. Go back where I was. Uh, Nintendo Nerd says my New Year's resolution is for the team to find a consistent scorer other than RJ. Saw hints of that tonight. Yeah, I think that's kind of, but we need consistency. That's kind of what I'm gonna as I don't know. I guess I would love to. Well, of course, everybody would love to have everybody kind of doing it, but if we could get one consistent person outside of RJ, I guess that would cover it. Ted says every time it seems Washington has a breakout game, he reverts back. I I don't know. Hopefully, he's 100% healthy and he's kind of recovered from his injury. But I wonder some of it's just to the physicality as well. Hopefully, now that he's healthy, he can work on getting stronger as well before next year. Garrett says, "I'd love to see our New Year's resolution to be a top 15 defense in Ken Palm." There you go. That would be nice. Nintendo Nerd says that and Elliot Kiddo finding his groove. I think he'll get there though. Yeah, somebody had kind of said that really Seth should be starting over Elliott or Cormac, which you can't, I don't think, disagree, but you'd also don't want to take that from Elliott and he lose confidence or anything like that as well. So and Mike says Armando finishing bunnies. That would be a good one. Tyler says New Year's resolution to continue to get great bench play. Yeah, and I think that's again what I was getting at too is everybody kind of know their role and everybody consistently do that. I don't think you can count on it 100% of the time, but um, for us to consistently hit those marks, that would be good. Ted says, and for Cormac, needs to be more consistent, reduce his minutes. He does play good D, but he is brought in as a sharpshooter for sure, for sure. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with you there, Ted. Nintendo says Washington sadly isn't strong or quick enough to body with the physical teams yet. I believe in him, but it'll take time. Garrett says top 15 in rebounding and defensive efficiency. That would be solid. So definitely some good resolutions there. Some good games from the Tar Heels coming up, and I at this point, somebody said it too. Like have 10 wins the first game of January to beat Pittsburgh tonight. We'll take that, and the exciting part is, yeah, we're 10-3, and now we got some big games to look ahead to. Never really think of Clemson as a big game, but that's definitely a big one this year. We're going to Raleigh here in a week ish, a little over a week, I guess, week and a day. So to be where we're at record wise, to feel how we do about the team, and then to have games to look forward to. I mean, it's just what we've missed in the past. I still think we're a level down from probably when we all became Tar Heel fans. When we were going to Final Fours every year, it seemed like, or every other year and stuff like that. But we're on the right track for this year, and that's exciting. That's obviously what we want. We don't want to. What else can you ask for? We can't all be. Well, I was gonna say Purdue, but they lost in the first round last year, so we don't want to do that either. So we're in a good spot. Got to feel good about this team. And as I kind of close out, I guess that's why I enjoy talking with you guys. Hopefully, uniting Tar Heel Nation podcast by podcast. Again, thank you guys for interacting here live. Thank you for people that listen to this, and I hope that you again interact with me on X or Instagram, and that we can just again get that Tar Heel family on YouTube and on I don't know. I always say Twitter. I know it's X now, but that's what I want to build. That's what I enjoy about doing this is talking to you guys about it. So Garrett says, thanks for the pod. Glad I could join. Off to watch the Hornets play. Nintendo said, always a good time, Dan. Go Heels as always. Absolutely. And I think that's a good as spot as ever to kind of close this out. I thank you guys for joining me and supporting the podcast. Until next time, go Heels.